Welcome to Niche Conversations. I'm Jessica DeWitt, one of the editors here at the Network in Canadian History and Environment. And today I am joined by Adeline Piercy. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a graduate student at the University of Alberta. I'm also an instructor at MacEwan University, so I've
Mhm.
got a lot of things on the go and good projects and stuff. But I'm excited to be here.
Wonderful. So I invited you here to talk about your video essay, which was called Controlling Catastrophe Indoor Gameplay to Support Sensory Dysfunction, which you submitted to our series on playing inside, which Jesse Rittner is editing. So we're going to dive into that today. But first, the first thing I want to talk about today was the format of your essay, because I am always trying to get both our editors and our contributors to think beyond the traditional, blog post of like 1,200 words.
Mhm.
The option is in our guidelines, and often our series invite people to submit, but still like 99% of people still, do a traditional blog post. So I wanted to talk to you about, why did you choose a video essay? And then, you know, what skills did you need, what software, and, how much time it took?
Mhm. It was a kind of a joint decision. I had been working on some other video editing projects
Mm-hmm.
for my supervisor and having a lot of fun with it and really enjoying the process. And so I
Yeah.
thought it would be fun to try working on something for me and see what I could do.
Yeah.
And my supervisor was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea. It'll diversify your CV and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of show off your skills." So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun to do, but like with all creative research, it takes a lot more time.
Yes.
So I wrote the script, which was around, I think, 8 or 1,200 words, somewhere in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then had to play through the game to collect all of my footage. So that was
Yeah.
about 5 hours of gameplay, and
Mm-hmm.
then go back and sift through all of that footage and like splice out what I wanted to add in and try to map it all together. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
choose music, and so all of that. The time that went into it was about 20 hours
Okay.
after writing the script.
Yeah.
Um, and I had a lot of fun doing it, but yeah, it was definitely time consuming, and I had to know, like I had already been working in Adobe Premiere Pro, and so I had that skill
Mm-hmm.
set already, and learned how to use OBS to capture all of the gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was a challenge, but really fun to do, and I would definitely do it again.
Well, that's
Yeah.
good to hear. Yeah, I just appreciate you talking about that. And I always assume it's a bit, it is time consuming. Like if you get really good at blog writing, you can like 5 hours or less.
Yeah.
People spend a lot more time, and I'm like, it's a blog post. You shouldn't spend that much more time on it. But people do. But if you get good at it, like if you get like comfortable also with just kind of writing in public forums, you can get it out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But like that 20-hour frame, and then yeah, the skills, and then also we're just not like, I know you're in digital humanities, right? So
Yes.
you have more like, you're expected to do this kind of stuff, but a lot of us, particularly historians, are not encouraged in our programs to really develop these skills,
Mhm.
um, even though they often resonate more with people, not just the public, but academics as well. Like we like a break from reading blocks of
Yeah.
text as well, right?
Yeah. And I think there's something about, I'm thinking about, I'm trying to remember their names. Like the data feminism textbook with Klein and D'Ignazio
Mm-hmm.
talks about the like data representation not being an unbiased thing, and that
Mm-hmm.
when we play with graphics and creative ways of demonstrating information and data, that it can be a lot more emotionally impactful. And I think that
Yes.
that was important for me with this project, because it was such a personal experience, and the embodiment of playing the game and everything, that
Mm-hmm.
writing it in a blog just wouldn't have the same effect as it
Yes.
did with the graphics and the music and everything that went
Mm-hmm.
into the project. So
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Cool. Good. Well, thank you for talking about that. And
Mhm.
I really enjoyed it. And
Thank you.
so you're focusing on Frostpunk in this video. So I thought we could talk. Could you tell us a bit, what is Frostpunk? What is the game, the gameplay, and how elements of climatic control within the game help to, in your experience, uh, soothe sensory overload during like summer heat waves.
Mhm. Yeah. So Frostpunk is a like post-apocalyptic city building game.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that you're set out on this quest to survive and you have a generator in the middle of your city that produces warmth if you can keep your coal supply going.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of resource management and mapping out, what buildings need to stay close to the generator because some buildings will shut down if they don't have
Mm-hmm.
enough heat. So it's, and then keeping people warm, obviously, right? You start out with tents and then you slowly upgrade their
Yeah.
houses to, bunk houses and then proper houses. And all of that insulation helps, but you have to be gathering resources. And so it's a lot to manage in the middle of this crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting, like an interesting game to play for me because I find the problem solving really satisfying
Mm-hmm.
and keeping that system operating to be
Yeah.
a satisfying experience. And at the same time, just loving the idea that this is like freezing cold. And,
Mm-hmm.
we're in the freezing cold right now because it's minus, 28 outside. But
Yes.
um, I find myself in the summertime really like nostalgic for that
Mm.
winter experience. And so
Yeah.
I play the game a lot in the summer because I just get so overwhelmed with the heat. And so the game kind of becomes like, I guess a parallel experience would be people putting on the fireplace channel to
Yes.
like make your living room cozy and stuff during the winter season, right? And it's not giving any heat, but it still psychologically gives us this feeling of comfort, right? And I
Yes.
think that playing the game does that for me, where, I have to turn on my air conditioning and everything to make my house cooler, but the game gives me mentally this little break of
Mm-hmm.
reprieve from the weather, right?
Yes. Yeah.
um and yeah, I think the being able to control the elements in the game is a really important part of what I explored in
Mm-hmm.
this video essay, right? Controlling catastrophe. I can't really control the summer heat, but I can control this tiny
Yeah.
little settlement in my game
Yeah.
and, keep them as comfortable as possible or do my best at it at least, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I appreciated the control part, and I also like the kind of like the moral ambiguity of it, where you're like, uh,
Yeah.
the success rate isn't like if you lose, 75% of your population. I don't remember the numbers, but it's like that's still a win,
Yeah, yeah, that's a huge part of the game, actually. There's a lot
Yeah.
of like difficult situations you have to deal with and decide whether you're going to like
Mm-hmm.
put sawdust in the food so that your food supply lasts longer and make
Yeah.
children go to work. And like it's a really heavy game that way
Yeah.
with these kind of moral decisions that you have to make. And
Mm-hmm.
like you say, there's this focus on the collective and the system that if you have, I don't know the exact statistic for success in the game. I think it's like 10% or
Yeah.
20% or something like that. But that's all you need to win, technically. Like your population has to survive enough for you to win the game, even though you can have people dying at a crazy rate as long as you get through that storm with some sort of population left. So,
Yeah.
I talk about that in the video essay of even this marginal success is still something. And I really
Mm-hmm.
relate to that with regulating my own system with ADHD and neurodivergence in
Mm-hmm.
the summertime of like, it's not exactly what I need or exactly what I
Yeah.
can, my ideal state in the house, but it's something and it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's such a, now I'm thinking, like you wrote about how you're in the summer, and now we're on the flip side, right? Where it's
Yeah.
like really, really cold. I'm in Saskatoon, you're in Calgary, right? So it's
Edmonton.
Edmonton. Okay.
Yeah.
It's very cold today, -28. I'm actually getting together with a group of people later today to put together care packages for unhoused folks in
Mm,
Saskatoon,
yeah.
which the homeless population in Saskatoon has skyrocketed
Mm,
in the last several years. Like there's like, don't quote me on these numbers, but around 3,000 homeless people now,
wow.
and there was like less than 1,000 several years ago, right? So I'm just thinking of that, just the position of all these, like, I don't know. It's not really what we're talking about today, but that's what's like bringing up like this like thought of like
Yeah.
these climatic things and the ways that some of us are able to psychologically get through these things, and other people are forced to just like deal with it. Like you have to be in the heat, you have to be in the cold. Like
In the cold.
there's
Yeah.
no break, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah.
think there's definitely an element of privilege there for me to be able
Mm-hmm.
to play at freezing to death when that's
Mm-hmm.
a reality for many. So yeah, I'm glad you brought
Yeah,
that up.
yeah. Um, it's just something for us all to grapple with. I think that a lot of us who are sitting in warm houses right now could read or not read, listen to you or watch your video essay, and like I think it just brings up some things to think about, right?
Absolutely.
And then one of the things that really stood out to me is like this embodiment and like like a lot of people who, particularly those who are critical of video games, talk about how it like divorces us from the real world, right? And I feel like the embodiment that you're talking about really breaks down those binaries between like inside and outside, real, digital, to show that it's all like interconnected and like it really isn't separate in some ways. Um, so I was wondering if you could maybe talk about how your experience of Frostpunk might apply more broadly to the video gaming experience.
hmm Yeah, I think games are a really important medium, and I
Mm-hmm.
will argue that that's part of why I'm researching them, right?
Yeah.
And I think that games help us self-express, can help us self-regulate, self-explore. Like and that's a really big part of why we play these games. And
Mm-hmm.
games are unique to each person. We don't passively consume games the way that we do with film or with books,
Mm-hmm.
where we are just taking it in. It's because of the interaction with games, we're kind of forced to play a part in it and
Yeah.
consent to being a part of the game, right? And it becomes a subjective experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in my experience with Frostpunk, digital and real kind of became enmeshed, and I was able to find physical comfort through a digital experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of research on games helping with neurodivergence or being very tightly linked to
Yeah.
neurodivergent communities. Even in my faculty, there are some folks who are doing research specifically on ADHD and connections to or the gaming communities, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And even parallels with like a lot of folks with ADHD will think with a bird's eye view rather than individual pieces. And that's a
Mm-hmm.
similar experience to playing the game as well, right? Thinking about the system rather than the individual.
Yeah.
And so we often have to think about ourselves as a system that we're trying to manage, right? We being kind of a general approach to,
Yeah.
neurodivergent folks. But um, yeah, I think there's a lot of really great research on phenomenology. And as I look into autoethnographic practices, and, I think that they're really important
Mm-hmm.
for game research. because our experience is so closely linked to the games that we play,
Yeah.
and that subjectivity is um, an essential part of it. So when it comes to kind of the everyday and the, skeptics of video games, I think that it's important to think about these as an interactive piece, right? It's not just
Mhm.
mind numbing, it's really engaging and doing something with our brains that's creative and exciting and interactive and part of storytelling, um, and um, yeah, trying to think if there's anything else I can
Yeah.
add to this here. Um, I will say as well, like the connection of lived experience in the body is really important for like
Mhm.
neuroqueer research and for crypt theory and stuff like that
Mhm.
too. So I, you know, research a lot into those theories as well with my research, and
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Cool.
I
No, I
hope that
appreciate all.
answers
Yeah,
well.
no, it's I don't get to talk about this kind of stuff, so I'm just like listening to you like intently, like because I haven't. It's not my thing, right? So I really appreciate learning from you about it, and um, gosh, I'm feeling compelled to read more about it. Something else to read about, but
There's always
um,
something.
yes, and also yeah. I confess I'm one of those people that the only video game I play is The Sims, but
That's
it
still
got me
legit.
through grad school because that's what I would like.
Yeah.
I would get I would get to like 11 p.m. because I was a night
Yeah.
owl then. That changed when I hit 30. But when I was in grad school, I would like start playing Sims at like 11 p.m. and just like zone out, just like being like
Yeah.
very fully in it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a
and
great
now,
example of like
yeah,
regulating with gameplay, right? Like after a
yeah,
long day and just,
yeah,
something to focus on that pulls you out of everything else.
yeah,
Like, yeah, that's fantastic.
yeah, and yeah, my partners are both like uh very they love their video games and they're neurodivergent and like sometimes I don't understand like I'm like why are you so why can't you get out of it or like, and just like trying to empathize and like understand like the experience of it and what it does for their nervous systems for their
Yeah.
imaginations etc. Yeah, it's all like things to consider and yeah, thanks for talking to me about it today. And yeah, everyone should check out your video essay. It's fantastic.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thanks, Adeline. Take care.
You too. Bye.